Hey, what's up?
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into Team Forbidden's YouTube page. Before we get into today's deck profile, I just want to give out a quick shout out to my friend John Koiko here, which you know as the Fool. He does his own artwork and commissions. You may have noticed he has done the artwork for some of our YouTube videos, which we call his sarcastic artwork. He does take commissions and requests for any of your own thumbnails for your own videos or for your mats or whatever. All the link for his info is down below. Just hit us up with any messages or hit him up with any messages if you want any for him to do any work for you, and we will catch you later. Thanks again and enjoy the video. Hey everyone, thanks again for tuning into Team Forbidden's YouTube page again. I am Andrew, the Collector, here once again for a deck profile for a very interesting deck, Cubics. So without further ado, let's get started. So first off, we are going to start out with the main necessity, 3 Duza. Don't know why this took so long to get out, but it literally is what makes this deck playable. When he is summoned, he basically sends any cubic card from the deck to the graveyard, which is what you want. So we definitely want 3 of him. Next will be 3 Crimson Nova. This guy is super broken. He is literally like the main spine of the deck because he gets special summoned when you reveal 3 cubic cards with different names. He's unaffected by monsters' activated effects. When he destroys a monster, you can attack again, and during each of your end phases, each player takes 3,000 points of damage. So yeah, he literally steals games. Next is 3 V-Jum, Cubic Seed. Can't be destroyed in battle, and if he battles a monster, that monster gets a cubic counter. What is a cubic counter? It's basically the best counter in the game, where any monster that has a counter on it is basically Fiendish Chained, except it's better than Fiendish Chain, so they can't attack and their effects are negated. Next up will be 2 Buster Gundeal, the Cubic Behemoth. He is the only non-normal or set 1 worth a damn because of his effect in a combo which I'll get into later. Now that's it for the cubic monsters. So we have 2 Summoner Monk. He's good because he can ditch any spell card to special summon Duza, and when you get Duza out, you get his effect off and just go from there. And for hand traps, we have 2 Maxi because this deck desperately needs draw power. It's its main weakness. That's it for the monsters. Now for the spells, we have 3 Cubic Karma. When this card's activated, you send V-Jum monsters from your hand and or deck to the graveyard, and one of your cubic monsters gains 800 attack for each. If a V-Jum monster is special summoned by any other effect, you send this card to the graveyard and half your opponent's life points. And during your turn, you can banish this from your graveyard to add a cubic monster from your deck to your hand, and that's not once per turn, so you can constantly keep dumping this for continuous searches. Next up, we have 3 Cubic Waves. This is what helps with the Crimson Nova OTK, because when you activate this, target a cubic monster and one of your opponent's monsters, your cubic monster's attack is doubled, and theirs is halved. So combine that with Nova, and it's pretty nasty. And if this card's in your graveyard, you can banish it and any number of cubic monsters, and each of your opponent's monsters gains 1 cubic counter, which is super broken. Oh, and you can only activate each of these effects once per turn. So you activate this, dump it, and then use its banish it mid-effect. Alright, and now for our one-offs, we have Allure of Darkness for that extra draw power. I might take this out for another Twin Twister, because it have very limited dark monsters, and the ones I do, I usually don't like to banish. Upstart, Instant Fusion for Norden, Fusion Conscription to search for Nova by revealing the fusion monster. Regeki, it's Regeki. Reasoning, this one is more for dumping the spells and traps in the graveyard to get off their secondary effects. Like you dump either Wave or Karma to get their graveyard effects, which is really nice. Even if they call the monsters level right and it goes to the graveyard, I mainly use it for the dumping the spell cards. And then Twin Twister, like I said, I'm probably going to take out Allure Darkness for second Twin Twister because you can discard, stuff like Karma to get their effects and also get rid of the back row, which is really nice. And that's it for the spells. Now for the traps, we have Unification of the Cubic Lords. It's the fusion card. When it's activated, you fusion summon a cubic monster. I never use it for that effect. I mainly use it for its graveyard effect, which is whenever a cubic monster on your side of the field leaves the field in any means, either to the hand, banish, or graveyard, or whatever, you can banish this from the graveyard and special summon one level 4 or lower cubic monster from your deck to your side of the field, ignoring summoning conditions. There's a combo in there which I'll get into later. And then next are 2 magical hats. I use these for the spells and traps again to get them in the graveyard, but I'm taking them out for the Foolish Burial of Goods. As of making this video, I only required them yesterday, and I have yet to put them in my deck. So once I go back home, I'm going to take these out for the Foolish Burial of Goods. And then we have our Solemn Brigade, 2 strike, 1 warning. And then we have the Mirror Force Brigade, 2 quaking and 1 storming. That's it for the main deck. Now on to the extra deck. For our fusions, we have 1 Trinity and 1 Norden. I only use him for the fusion conscription. It's very, very rare that I would summon him out with the fusion summon trap card. He would be good if I made the deck main around him, but as of now he's just side because when you get him out he's pretty stupid good. And of course Norden for the instant fusion target to special summon him to get out Duza. Duza's effect goes off and then play with rank 4s from there. And for rank 4s, it depends on your prerogative. I have the regulars number 80, Giant Hand, Come to Board, Gaga Cowboy, Honor Arc, Skyblast, Vylon, Die Sigma, how long have you been since seeing this? Dark Rebellion, Steel Storm Roach, which is something that people need to be using more of in this current meta, and Dijin. But the ones that I highly recommend that you play, obviously, are the Utopias. This has gotten me out of so many jams that I can't even begin to count. Now, for the combo that I mentioned earlier, you want to see at least a Duza, a Karma, and yeah, that's you want to see at least these 2 in your hand. So let's say that you normal Duza, you use his effect to dump the trap card, activate Cubic Karma, use its effect to dump all 3 V-Joms from either your deck or hand to the graveyard, and he gains 800 for each permanently, so he would be at 4,000. So your opponent would only have to get rid of him through spell effect or card effects. And if he does that, it goes to the grave. You use Unification's effect to banish itself to special summon Behemoth. Now here's where Behemoth comes into play. If this card is destroyed by your opponent, if this card is removed to the graveyard by your opponent's means, it goes to the graveyard. You use his effect, which special summons 3 V-Joms from your graveyard. Karma's effect goes off. Your opponent's life points are halved, so it goes below 4,000 no matter what. You have 2 indestructible monsters by battle, and if they don't know what they are and attack to them, they each get cubic counters, but chances are that's not happening. And Behemoth's effect is when after he special summons those, you can add him back to the hand, and when it goes back to your turn, you use his effect to send all 3 V-Joms to the graveyard to special summon him. He is now a 3k beater that can attack up to 3 times. And let's say that you attack, your opponent activates a Mirror Force or something that destroys him and sends him, or just sends him to the graveyard. Boom. 3 V-Joms out again, back to the hand, rinse and repeat. That's one of the main combos of this deck, other than, using the Crimson Nova OTK burn with Wave. So yeah, that is my deck profile. Thank you so much for listening to my rambling about this. I wanted to make this deck profile for some time. Ever since the Cubics came out, I've always had a fascination with them, but they were stingy on releasing this. I don't know why they didn't release it when they released it beforehand. So yeah, thanks again for tuning into our YouTube page again. I am Andrew the Collector, and we will catch you next time.
We put much blame.